Could you open the door? Why not? Do you know why?
They put a chair behind it.
Oh, okay. Who did? Who put a chair behind it?
Barbie.
Welcome back to Operation Evil. This is episode 111, Girl in the Closet. I'm your host, Nyoka. This case is a crazy one, and as always, listener discretion is advised. The audio clip that you heard in the beginning was from 8-year-old Lauren Kavanaugh, and we're going to talk about her story today and how horrific it was. Her story begins when she was born on April 13th. 1993, to her mother, Barbara Catherine Atkinson. Except her mother had no job, no home, and arranged for a private adoption. Bill and Sabrina Kavanaugh happily took custody of Lauren at birth. 2 days later, they filed to adopt her. Apparently, the couple were acquaintances with Barbara somehow, mutual friends of someone. So they thought everything was right in the world. And why shouldn't it be? This is something that they've been planning through Barbara's whole pregnancy. But it came crashing down when Barbara quickly changed her mind and demanded her baby back. The demand for her baby allegedly came from Barbara's own adoptive parents. And when they learned what Barbara had done, they forced Barbara to go get her baby back. Bill and Sabrina were able to retain exclusive rights to Lauren for about 8 to 9 months, but courts limited their contact soon after. And when Barbara would take the baby while they still had Lauren would come back with bruises and diaper rashes and just obvious things that were wrong, and they would notate it and document it and everything else. But at the end of the day, and struggling in court and a technicality with their attorney and a second judge, they were ordered to return Lauren back to her birth mother. Bill and Sabrina were devastated, and they never got over losing her, and they still hoped that one day they would have her again. The last time they saw Lauren, she was an energetic, healthy 2-year-old who loved the outdoors and movies. Unfortunately, this decision would impact Lauren in a horrific way. So now she's back with her birth mom. And things aren't going so good. From the ages 2 to 8, that's 6 years, Lauren was isolated by her mother and stepfather in a small 4-by-8-foot closet in their trailer. And it wasn't until June 11th, 2001, when she was 8 years old, that she would be found, tortured, and starving. From that point on, she would be known as the girl in the closet. The condition Lauren was found in was beyond horrible. Physically, her stomach was bloated from starving, just like the kids in the third world countries when you would see commercials like help feed a kid. That kind of puts that image of what she looked like. Her eyes were sunken in. She was covered in her own feces. And she weighed only 25 pounds. I mean, just to put things into perspective for you, 25 pounds is like what a 1-year-old, 1.5-year-old would weigh. She is 8 years old and weighs 25 pounds. She was also a foot smaller than other children her age and had the communication skills of a 3-year-old. In fact, she told the police that she was 2 years old when they rescued her. Also, what was also devastating is that a doctor testified that she had been sexually abused so badly that she needed surgery. After the 6 years of abuse unfolded, a court-appointed guardian told an Ellis County judge 8 years ago that Barbara was an unfit parent and that her baby should remain with the couple attempting to adopt Lauren. But the judge returned her to her biological mother, saying the woman's parental rights had not been terminated. Now, you might be wondering why Lauren's grandparents, or anyone for that matter, knew about what was going on in her condition. Well, Barbara's adoptive parents and her brother hadn't seen Lauren in more than 2 years, and when they would ask Barbara about Lauren, she would just tell them that Lauren had an eating disorder and she was staying with the babysitter. And I do want to add that Barbara had 5 other children who didn't tell a soul either, because she would tell them not to, and they were scared of her, from what I understand. At the end of this, though, those 5 children ended up being placed in a foster care. I found an article that was so shocking, and it was written the following year after Lauren was rescued, so it was written in 2002. The article was titled, "Abusive Mom Blames It for the Problems in Her Life." In this article, Barbara said that she was trying to forget that Lauren existed and that she was the source of all her problems. She was referring to Lauren as it or the girl, but never by her name. She said, quote, "It was the problem. It was what was causing everything. Out of sight, out of mind. I shut it away and I didn't think of it. I couldn't stop her being in the closet," end quote. Barbara said she was unaware how sick her daughter was until she saw photos at her trial. She said, quote, "I never saw her like that. I didn't see her. She didn't look like that. She looked like the girl," end quote. How do you not see the condition of your child? Like, that is bizarre. That is horrible. And I don't know if she's stating the truth that she didn't see her that way because she was just so disgusted by her, or if she did see her that way and she's just saying she didn't because, I mean, she just didn't care. I don't know. But it's horrible. Now, Barbara said that she loved her daughter, but she wasn't remorseful. She said she does regret that her 5 other children witnessed her sister's abuse. Their sister's abuse. During the trial, Lauren's 12-year-old sister, who witnessed the abuse, testified that both her parents abused Lauren. She said that both parents locked Lauren away almost every day and night over a period of years and told the other children not to tell anyone. The 12-year-old who testified only attended first grade, and none of the other 5 kids, 5 kids, ever attended school. All of the kids had severe cases of lice and tooth decay. So all of them were being neglected to a point, but Lauren just had it the worst. When it comes to the stepfather, Kenneth, he was being charged with injury to a child. He was also taking the defense of being a battered husband who loved his wife, but he was scared of her. Anyway, I don't know if that's true. I think it's just an excuse, probably. I don't know. But a play therapist testified that during the therapy, the one that was talking to Lauren in the audio in the very beginning, Lauren showed a lot of fear toward a male puppet that she calls Kenny. And when Lauren used another doll to demonstrate what was reportedly done to her, and then began to poke and scream and holler and push and say, "Stop it, it hurts, stop it." And she names Kenny. A physician at Children's Medical Center also testified that Lauren had extensive trauma to her genital area. In the end, her mother and stepfather, Barbara and Kenneth Atkinson, are serving life sentences in Texas prisons. They will be eligible for parole in 2031. And Lauren was adopted by Bill and Sabrina, the couple who tried to adopt her at birth, but was forced to return her. They were able to adopt her after she was rescued. And I'm so glad they were very excited, and they embraced her, and they knew that they had a long road ahead of them, but they did their best. And Lauren had a new place to call home. And Lauren, she started healing, working on her trauma. But then another horrific event took place in August 2005 when her cousin's husband raped her in a barn. Doctors say that Lauren survived all of these years of abuse through what is called dissociation. It's the psyche's ability to float away from the pain. Lauren called it her escape hatch. In 2013, Lauren graduated from high school at age 20 and then enrolled in community college. There have been years of therapy, fits of rage, suicidal attempts, fights, and mood-altering drugs at this point. Studies by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and others suggested Lauren faced a bleak future and antisocial behavior, crime, drug, and alcohol abuse, disease, and early death. Fast forward to 2017, when Lauren appeared on the Dr. Phil show to talk about her childhood trauma. More details surfaced about her case. Dr. Phil quoted an officer who was on the scene when Lauren was found. The officer stated, quote, "Her skin was peeling due to laying in her own feces. Lauren's matted hair reminded me of a rat's nest. The closet where Lauren had been kept smelled horribly. We found what appeared to be chew marks or teeth marks on the inside of her closet door handle. I have never, ever run across anything like this," end quote. Lauren told Dr. Phil that she tried to commit suicide over 30 times. And she sometimes has flashbacks about her childhood of her parents beating her. And she said that no matter what she did, she couldn't get out, and that it was always dark. And she didn't get fed, and when she had to go to the bathroom in the closet where she slept. Even one of the officers, I think it was in one of the interviews that I had watched, they said that when they stepped on that carpet in the closet, like pee would pull up on their shoe. It was just saturated with urine because the girl was stuck eating and using the bathroom, all in this place where she was confined. Now, usually we're hoping for the best for anyone that survives something like this, which happened to be like one of the worst cases of someone who survived something like this, by the way. And normally we wouldn't hear anything else. Normally that would be the end. But it's different because we do get more information. On December 14th, 2018, police officers received a tip about a 14-year-old girl who was being sexually abused. Police learned about sexually explicit Facebook conversations going on between an adult and a minor. The adult was 25-year-old Lauren. she was messaging a 14-year-old girl talking about performing sex acts on her. How did the police get this tip, you might wonder? Well, Facebook's monitoring software detected a suspicious interaction between an adult and a child, which then they contacted the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force, to which they turned around and reported it, the possible crime, to the police department. Oh, and apparently, Lauren ended up moving in with the girl's family at a budget Suites of America motel in October 2018. Now, according to court records, Detective Brian Gibbons wrote in the arrest affidavit that he contacted the teen's mother on December 17th, 2018, about the online conversations and asked her to bring her daughter to the Detention County Children's Advocacy Center for an interview. Police conducted a forensic interview of the 14-year-old victim, who told the police that Lauren had been sexually abusing her for 2 months. In the investigation, detectives confirmed that the suspect was the same girl who was once a victim of abuse and whose story made the national headlines. They discovered that she was the girl in the closet. Police said that Lauren ran a Facebook account called the Lauren Kavanaugh Story, where she reached out to other potential abuse victims to offer friendships and support. And that's apparently where Lauren met this 14-year-old girl, was through there. And then from there, they started texting each other, and I don't know. When detectives interviewed Lauren about this, she admitted to having a sexual relationship with the 14-year-old and said that she was sorry and she learned her lesson. But Lauren was arrested. Investigators also believe that there were probably other victims out there. So after her arrest, detectives made a statement asking parents to speak to their children to find out if they had any contact with Lauren and if it is believed to have been in an appropriate manner. Psychologist Barbara Ryla saw firsthand the abuse Lauren went through, and she spoke to her after she was rescued at age 8. She remembered Lauren to be frail and how Lauren couldn't speak, and she didn't know what common objects were. She remembered Lauren being terrified and overwhelmed. When speaking about childhood trauma, the psychologist said, quote, "Trauma affects the growing, developing brain of a child, so the brain grows according to experiences. When children have a steady diet of harm and danger, we're going to anticipate a much more dire outcome," end quote. Criminal defense attorney Greg Westfall said that the case against Lauren should be dismissed based on her traumatic past. He said, quote, "I think it's utterly inhumane to have her in jail right now. To run her through the legal system for this is completely inhumane unless one can be convinced there is no consent in this deal," end quote. He believes counseling is more appropriate than a possible prison sentence. He said, quote, "Is she a predator? Hell no. Is she someone who is going to be able to better communicate with a 14-year-old than an adult? Hell yes. She'll catch up at some point, but not in her mid-20s," end quote. A study by the Centers for Disease Control conducted annually since 2009 found that as the number of traumatic experiences children face increases, the risk of negative outcomes can include mental distress, depression, and suicidal ideation. The psychologist said, quote, "Emotionally, people from a significant trauma background don't mature at the same pace as other people. That's also thought to be the reason why people turn to sexuality with children, That was their initial sexual experience, and they have recreated their initial sexual experience with the victims, end quote. Lauren, growing up, lacked many of the basic needs as a child, both emotionally and physically. She didn't have love, affection, respect, someone to worry about her, things to eat, a bathroom to use. I mean, she had nothing. Now let's forward a little bit to March 2019, when Lauren was indicted on 3 counts of sexual assault of a child. And at this point, Lauren faced up to 20 years in prison on each charge if she is convicted. We don't know anything until October 2021. And what happened was the sexual abuse charges were dropped, and Lauren was released from jail at the age of 28. The first assistant district attorney, Jamie Beck, said that he could not go into all the reasons why the case was dismissed, but said part of the reason had to do with Lauren's undergoing treatment, and that the dismissal was, quote, in the interests of justice, end quote. At one point during the case, Lauren was found incompetent to stand trial and was put into a mental health facility. Since then, Lauren has been pretty quiet. She has embraced privacy. She hasn't really been on the social media, and she has stayed out of trouble. And before I end this episode, I would like to play a snippet of the Dr. Phil show where her sister is talking about Lauren being abused when they were growing up, and her point of view on it. And here we go.
Growing up, I never really knew how bad it was, but I didn't know the extent of it. The house was very chaotic. Barbie and Kenny, they would fight all the time. It would get physical and they would scream. The house was always dirty and laundry was piled up. Barbie would go and get bags of discounted clothes instead of doing laundry. My mom, Barbie, never really cleaned the house. It was filthy. None of us really bathed regularly. We didn't get our hair washed, and we had lice so bad. The dishes were always dirty, and sometimes we'd just throw those away. My parents would refer to Lauren as that girl, the problem, or it. We knew that she was our sister, but we were closed off from her. My brothers and sisters would refer to her as that girl, and they would say, that girl is screaming. My brothers and sisters and I were completely brainwashed into thinking that Lauren deserved to be in the closet. I remember the inside of the closet was just nasty. It smelled horrible, like urine. I could actually smell the closet from inside my parents' bedroom. We would always hear Lauren scream. I feel like Ken and Barbie treated Lauren like an animal. I remember sneaking into Ken and Barbie's room and going into the closet. I remember feeding her dog food, but that's all we had. Another time, Lauren told me that she was really hungry, and so I gave her a tub of butter. She just took it from me so fast. That says a lot about how much Barbie and Ken starved her. I got caught because they saw the tub in the closet when they got home. I was so scared that Barbie and Kenny were going to hurt me, so I stopped trying to give food to Lauren. I wish that it would have been me. Looking back on it, I would have traded places with her in a heartbeat, but I can't.
That is just a little clip of that. You can find it on YouTube if you just put in her name and Dr. Phil show. But I just wanted to know, I don't know, what do you guys think about this? Like, do you think her charges being dismissed was the best thing or not? I'd love to know your thoughts on this, and usually we don't get to follow someone throughout life and see how things turn out, and we did in this particular case, so that's why I wanted to cover it. But that will do it for this episode. If you can't get enough of Operation Evil, consider supporting the podcast by joining our Patreon, and you will get a shout out in an episode and at least one bonus episode per month that is exclusive to our supporters. If you can't join the Patreon, consider buying me a coffee. All of the links can be found in the show notes. Or if you can support the show for free, rate the show on the app you listen on, tell a friend about the show, like and follow the Facebook page. Any of these things are very much appreciated. And we'll be back next time with a new episode. Thanks again for listening. Goodbye.